Hi, I'm Linda Fentress, and I'm the Florida Coordinator for the Quilts of Valor Foundation. We are a grassroots group of quilters and long armors who make quilts for servicemen and veterans. Today we are here to present Quilts of Valor to the original Tuskegee Airmen. We heard about this over the internet. One of the ladies in California told me that the Tuskegee Airmen would be here in Orlando this year, and I immediately volunteered to get quilts. We have quilts from Massachusetts and all over the state of Florida for the 35 Tuskegee Airmen that are here today. With the Quilts of Valor, some of us meet at quilt shops. The group that I'm with is at Crafty Threads on Racetrack Road in Tampa, Florida. Some of them just make it at their home because they like to do quilting. We have an internet site called quiltsofvalor.org or QOVF.org, and you can go to this website, and if you know a serviceman or woman and you would like them to receive a Quilt of Valor, you put in your name as the person recommending them, and then you put in their name and address. It's then sent to a coordinator for Quilts of Valor who sends it to the state coordinator where that person lives. So if you live here in Florida but your son-in-law is out in Texas, enter his name, the coordinator in Texas will receive it, and a Quilt of Valor will be presented. We do not mail our quilts, we do not sell our quilts, they are all hand done, not hand quilted. We quilt them on machines, but we all make them for the servicemen and present them. You do not have to be a quilter to present. As you can tell, we have a captain, retired captain from the Navy. He does not quilt. My husband is here, he does not quilt, but they all do presentations for us. So if you'd like to present, volunteer to make a quilt, go to QOVF.org. On the average, it takes about 1 month to actually what we call piece, which is making the top of the quilt. We then either long arm it ourselves, which is the actual quilting. You can quilt it by hand, and that would probably take several months. But we normally send it to a long armor, and we've been very fortunate in that they volunteer their time. It can take anywhere from a week to 2 weeks to long armor quilt. The price of the quilt for the top, since the price of fabric has gone up, and it takes about 4 yards of material for a top and another 4 yards for the back. So just for the materials, it's about $100. The batting costs about $25. Our labor is free, which helps out. We also take donations. You know, if you don't quilt, go to your favorite fabric store, see if they're one of the shops that's under our wings, and just say, I'd like to buy a yard of material and donate it to Quilts of Valor, and they will take you and they will show you their display of all the red, white, blue, and gold material that they have. You pick out what you want, they give it to us, and we turn it into a quilt. The quilts are made to honor our servicemen, so we use red, white, and blue. We have several different patterns. Most of them contain stars because these are our stars. We also have one that's called a log cabin or a rail, and it just depends on the quilter. It's whatever she feels like making that time. There's always new patterns coming out. I have found one that I really like. I like Bargello's, which is like a stacked quilt, and I've made several of those, so it all depends on the quilter. But at the shops, we try to make something that can be put into a kit, and so most of the quilts are made out of what's called a block. And our blocks are 12-inch square. We cut up the material, make the kit, and that way if people don't want to make a whole quilt, but they'll put together a block for us, because some of our quilters are up in age, like the Tuskegee men. And the blocks are out there. They take one, they bring it back when they're finished, and when we have enough, we make a quilt from the volunteers who do that for us also. In a place over in Fort Pierce, and Nancy and Carol very generously immediately sent me quilts. Next to her, still sitting down, is Ann Stanton, who lives in Davenport, Florida, and also has sent me quilts, and she's also a presenter. When I need quilts in a certain area, if they do not have quilts available, then I go to Debbie and say, have you got an extra one? And so far I've been real lucky. There's always been an extra one. And standing behind them is Bonnie Cornelis, who came down from Pensacola, Florida. She drove down last night to be here with you. We have what's called a QOV chat online, and one of the chats was the lady from Southern California said, the Tuskegee Airmen will be holding their convention in Florida. We need some quilts. And so my friend tells me I need to sit on my hands. I immediately sent her an email and said, well, if they're coming to Florida, Florida would be happy to provide the quilts. And she said, great. So I then sent emails to all the representatives in all the states and said, the Tuskegee Airmen are coming, please send me quilts. And we have 35 quilts for us today for the Tuskegee Airmen. When I said, ladies, you've made these quilts, would any of you care to come over and help present? And the ones who were close enough in Florida said, I'd love to. My husband, of course, said, I get to go, don't I? And I said, sure. And then my daughter said, can I go? Now, my daughter is over in the polka dot dress. Photography is one of her hobbies, so I asked her if she would take pictures. So when we present your quilts to you, you will see my daughter Allison there with her camera taking a snapshot of you, and you'll see the lovely Miss McKamey with her little book to make sure we get the right name, so when I get back home, I know which quilt went to who. Okay? It is my pleasure to present the quilts to you. We're going to let you have breakfast. Would be nice. We know how the servicemen are with their meals. They never miss one. So we'll have breakfast first. I found out a few things on the internet that I didn't know. I thought you'd always been called the Tuskegee Airmen, and I understand you were the Red Tails to begin with. And after 1955, after a book had been published, and you were referred to as the Tuskegee Airmen, that is the name that has stuck. The other thing that I found out, I'm originally from Illinois, and I found out that a lot of the little worker bees who helped keep those airplanes flying, they cooked for you, they drove you around, they did anything that you wanted, probably. Those airmen were trained in Chanute Air Force Base, which is not that far from my home, and my sister actually lives about 30 miles from there. I too was in the Navy, and I've flown into Chanute a couple of times before they closed it down. My husband is a retired Master Chief with the Navy, and my daughter also served. So the quilters say that every quilt tells a story, and the story of most of these quilts began right here in the South and Massachusetts by quilters who share your love of country. On each quilt is a label that will tell you something about this quilt's beginnings, and as of today, the story starts with you. First, we honor you for your service, for your willingness to leave all you hold dear and to stand in harm's way so that we may remain free. Second, we know that freedom never is free, and our quilts are meant to say thank you for all your sacrifices. And finally, these quilts offer you comfort. Quilts still have the ability to offer a source of both comfort and warmth. We hope when you experience dark memories that these quilts will comfort you. So you wrap yourself around it and think of all the people who are thinking of you. Thank you. What we would like to do now is present a Quilt of Valor to each of the attending Tuskegee Airmen. If you'll just stand at your table, a lady or a gentleman will bring you your quilt, and the lady in the polka dot dress, my daughter, would like to get a picture of you with your quilt and the presenter. Booker Conley. With your quilt comes a presentation case, which is actually a pillowcase to keep your quilt nice and clean. There's also a label on the back that tells you a little bit about who made it, the year that it was made. And if you want to know anything else about the quilt, just ask us. Next is Robert McDaniel.
Oh, you're going to do it? Okay. Got two of us going here at the same time.
Appreciate that.
You're very welcome. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
James Bynum. And if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Daniel Keel.
And I will get a picture. Okay.
Robert Hughes.
Bob Hughes.
Bob Hughes. Bob. George Hardy.
Same here.
And that's awesome.
Retired Major Nancy Lieutenant Owen.
Okay.
Same table.
Colonel Charles McGee. Wilbur Mason. Dr. Roscoe Brown.
in there, they get to you.
Alexander Jefferson. Enoch Odie Woodhouse II, Esquire.
Is there a lady from Massachusetts here? Come over here. Thank you. Massachusetts ladies have class. Be gay.
Okay. We're going 20 miles more.
I got the flash off on this one, so it's not gonna.
Master Sergeant Richard Hall. Buford Johnson.
This was designed and constructed in China, where we just lost our
Marion West. Marion West. Calvin J. Spann.
Yes.
And the rear check.
Callie Gentry.
I know. Can't figure out how to drive it. This one more than Callie.
How's that? That's it.
Leo Gray.
Then the red cap sitting down. Trying to get it.
We're in Massachusetts. Okay. I'm up on a new report.
Yeah.
Amesbury.
Yeah.
So there's the pillowcase.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
When you going to?
I knew there was somebody behind me. It wasn't
I got smart.
Okay, the next one is James Shepard. Where you at, James? Oh, there you are. James is on Okay, Milton Holmes. Milton, where are you?
Stay right there, Milton.
All right, the next name is Colonel Clayton Lawrence. Colonel, where are you?
Right here. Run stable right here.
Colonel, that's my wife there.
Oh, you need careful.
do.
in Florida.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a good little